Hi, I'm Jane Brockett and I'm the author of Turkish Delight and Treasure Hunts, which is a book about all the wonderful things that children eat and do in the classics, in children's classics that have been written from about the late 19th century to the 1970s. And it's a book that's there to inspire children who've enjoyed reading and want to do these things, or their parents or their carers who remember reading these wonderful books and want to have a little trip down memory lane, or they want to encourage their children to do some new things. And the inspiration for writing the book came one day when I was on holiday with the family, and my daughter and I, who was 9 at the time, we were sitting reading, she was reading an Enid Blyton book, and I was reading a Sunday magazine, and I found this fabulous picture of a macaroon. And I said, Phoebe, look at this macaroon is just gorgeous, isn't it? She said, what's a macaroon? She said, no, I know what a macaroon is. Fatty in the Five Fine Outers eats them, and I didn't know they looked like that. And a little bit earlier on, I'd said to her, why don't we make some scones and lemonade for afternoon tea? And she said, oh, yes, that's because that's what everyone always eats in the books that I read. And we began to discern a pattern emerging here, that there were lots of wonderful things that children had eaten. And we discovered lots and lots of things that the children had done in the books that my children hadn't done themselves. So that's where the inspiration came from, that my children always wanted to do the things that they'd read about. I can't think of anything more wonderful or emblematic of a beautiful childhood than watching a spider spin its web. Now, what's interesting is that her mother thinks there's something wrong with her, sitting in the barn, talking to the animals, watching what they do. And she goes to the doctor, and she says that surely she should be playing with all the other children. All the other children are outside. And he says, well, what is she doing? Well, she's sitting in the barn watching a spider spin its web. And he says, how wonderful, how lovely. And he is the voice of wisdom, because within a year, she's already looking back at herself when she was a year younger, and thinking, gosh, why did I do things like that? And what's really interesting about this is that she's allowed, or she's given permission just to be a child, completely a child, take her time, not be forced into organised activities or feel that she has to socialise and so on. And I think that's a wonderful thing. I think all children should be allowed to watch a spider spin its web, or something equally contemplative and simple and easy. I think one of my favourites is Paddington Bear's marmalade buns. And everybody who's read any of the Paddington Bear books knows that he's very, very fond of marmalade. And marmalade is a real speciality where he comes from, in Peru, deepest, darkest Peru. But when he comes to England, marmalade is available everywhere, and he can't believe it that he could have marmalade at all times. So he takes marmalade sandwiches with him to the theatre. He carries a little bit of a store of marmalade to the seaside, and so on. But I made this recipe where you could make marmalade buns. Now, probably what you would call in America buns would be cupcakes, but they're little spongy cakes, but they're flavoured with marmalade and with an orange frosting on the top. And he enjoys. I would like to imagine that Paddington Bear would enjoy these for 11s with Mr. Gruber. 11s are a great English institution. At 11 o'clock we sit down, we have a cup of tea and maybe a biscuit or a marmalade bun, and I think everyone should do that. You can find more details about what I've been talking about, with details of the activities I've mentioned, and lots more information on the Penguin website.